Okay, well, it's time to do a little repair on a little TV. Actually, it's not that little. It's 43-inch, but 43-inch. Oh, look at this. Why is it so many TVs that we get in? People have never screwed the feet or the stand on properly. Mind you, in saying that, watch the end of this video, and I do make a bit of a mistake with the feet, but we'll come across that later. This is well, I call them UMC sharps. They're not UMC. I think the boards are made by UMC, but apart from that, this TV has got absolutely nothing to do with UMC at all. And it's come in, if you can see the model number there, it's come in completely dead. There's no standby light, and, well, there's just no sign of life. They've dropped off the remote. It's always a good idea to get a remote with these, because these are Bluetooth remotes. So if you haven't got a sharp Bluetooth remote, it's always quite easy to pair them up. But if you haven't got a sharp Bluetooth remote, then you'll have difficulty in powering the setup and getting it to do what you want to do. Normally on these, there's a capacitor that's gone pop, and there's the fuse that's gone. So it's one of the high voltage blue caps that tends to go, but it's not on this one. This one is a little bit different. And I've come across so many UMC style TVs late that are finding it very difficult to repair. Some of the boards are burning up. It's very difficult to get a replacement board identical, and that's exactly the problem I come across in a second. And so I've got in contact with some engineer friends of mine who have got much more experience than me, bearing in mind I've only been doing this about 7 or 8 years. But they've given me some advice which I think is wrong, but we'll get to that later. Replacing some caps. Yeah, capacitors. There are 3 bloated caps on this board, so I am replacing all 3, and I'm hoping that's going to get the TV back to life again. So there's a couple of 16-volt 470s. I've only got 25-volt 470s on this occasion. Shouldn't make a blimmer of difference, whatever that means. But I am going to replace the caps, and let me just put this board back in and give it a test. I've already done some research on this board, and it's not available. And a lot of people are finding this. I know a lot of TV engineers that have got so many UMC style TVs in their workshop or in their lockup now, just waiting for a board, waiting for a part. But you can always find a similar board with the connections for the correct screen, and you will get the TV to work, even though my experienced friends are telling me, no, that's not the case. You see, I've always gone on these boards, and I'll show you in a second. Just let me put this back together. I've always gone on these boards, and you can see there, look, I've got power coming to the board, but no matter how many times I press the standby light, the TV will not light up. It just doesn't. So there is a white label on the board that tells you the screen, and on this particular one, I will show it in a second, it's an LC430 DUY. Now, a couple of my engineer friends with more experience than me have been telling me that that's not the screen, that's the board, and it's no good buying a replacement board with that on. Now, have you ever been given some information before and you think, that's not right, because what they said I don't think is right? I'm just pointing out there seems to be a pin missing here, which is surprising me because there is a wire for it in this socket, or in this plug, I should say. So there's a pin missing in the socket, but if you look at the plug, the third one along, there's a black cable there. So I'm just wondering, that can't have just snapped off. I'm not sure. So I've had to go and buy one now. As I say, there's no boards available for this TV. So I have bought a similar board, same style board, same shape, same size, for the same screen. In fact, we'll put them side by side in a second, and we will have a look. And you'll notice there, they are pretty much identical, but this is from a different model Sharp TV, but it is for the same screen. I'll do a quick game with you now. There is one thing that's obviously different. The top board is different to the original board at the bottom. Can you tell? Can you tell what it is yet? Shouldn't say that. But anyway, see if you can work it out. So I'm going to put this board back together again. There's the screen marking, LC430DUYSHA1. Right. Now, I've been told that that's the board, and I shouldn't replace it just by going on that number alone. And I think that's rubbish. That's not the board number, that's the screen number, and that's exactly what you're looking for. You're replacing for the screen. That's the difference in the board, by the way. The one I'm replacing with has got added satellite, so that means I can charge more, doesn't it? But it does mean I've got to drill a hole in the little metal plate so it'll fit through. And I just reminded myself, let's just have a quick look at this socket. The pin's missing on the replacement board, so that pin can't be there, even though there is a wire for it. How bizarre, how strange. But that wasn't connected to the fault. The fault is obviously, if you haven't worked it out, software, firmware. Because the board was alive. You remember seeing the red light on the digital audio socket. So the board is alive, but it's not being told to turn on. The 12 volts is not getting down to the T-con, and that, I can only presume, is down to firmware. Again, finding the bin file for this, almost impossible. So I've gone for the next best thing, and I've managed to find a board. It's only 20 quid for this replacement board. So whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. As I say, a couple of people I've been in contact that have got much more experience than me have said, no, it won't work. You have to go on a label that's on the screen. That tells you the correct screen to go for. And I've checked, and I just don't get that. I think they have got confused. I'm sure that this board will power up this TV. It may have different features. It may have extra apps. It may have apps missing. I'm not really bothered about that. My job is to get this TV up and running. So anyway, I've put it back together loosely with just a couple of screws, plugged it in, and look, got a standby light straight away. That's something I didn't have before. So it means the firmware is working on this one to a certain extent. But are we going to see problems on the screen? Maybe I'm going to get lines. Maybe I'm going to get an upside down picture. Maybe I've got the screen thing wrong. But it doesn't look like I have. It looks like I can get this TV working by replacing the correct board from a different model. But as long as it's got the correct screen on, as long as you're matching the screen up and the connections of the board, you're going to be okay. So I've got 2 or 3 of these waiting to be repaired, and I'm going to chase up some of the other boards which are available, because at the moment this seems to be fine. I want to connect it up, though, of course, to my Blu-ray player and watch a little bit of snooker just to test it. So I'm just putting the final bits together here, making sure that it's okay. And of course I've got the customer's remote. This is a Bluetooth remote. So you have to press the green and yellow to sync it. But I'm just going to see if it works first of all without syncing it. And it does. So I don't even have to do that. So the only difference on this TV is a bit of an improvement. I've got it connected to, it's got a satellite input, which the other board didn't have. And I'm testing the volume, and the volume is fine. There's audio there. And the volume goes up, the volume goes down. It switches on, and it switches off, which is more than it did when it came into me. And the picture is as good as you can expect it to be. I think these are 4K TVs. I'm not too sure. I think that they are. So it's now a slightly different model number, but that doesn't make any difference to the customer. At the end of the day, the customer wants one thing. If they've brought you in a TV that's not powering on, they want it powering on. And there it is. Thanks for watching.